Hello everyone, and welcome to this educational video in the series of the basics of Tumbleweed. Today we will have a look at the 3 very important strategies of how to protect your stacks if they are being under attack. For this video I am using the Tumbleweed editor created by Anton Christensen, and it has many interesting and cool features. First of all, you can have a board of a different size from 2 to 11, and today we are using the size 8, which is the regular size we are playing the Tumbleweed on. We can have different visualization options that we will be using today, so you will see how it works. And you also can regularly play Tumbleweed by placing stacks anywhere on board, but also you can use the keys to place the stacks of any value anywhere on board. And for this, you can turn the editor documentation and you will see the key for that. Today I'm not using this, I'm just regularly playing Tumbleweed. And I will start from setting up the quite regular pie, where red is blocked by the neutral, but white is not blocked by the neutral. And ideally white is located on the other portion of the board. To show you different strategies to be protected from the attacks, we first of all need to create an attack, and let's say the red here is playing very aggressively and starts already by building the lines of sight on the white stack. And how you can see this, you can turn lines of sight mode, and by placing red you will see that it has one line of sight on red and one line of sight on white. With just one line of sight, we of course cannot capture one stack, and for white now it is an option to, because it is limited in the extension on this side. If I am playing white, I will try to extend somewhere on the board so I have more options to place stacks later in the game. For the red, it's actually the option to attack the white. And let's see if white can protect from this very aggressive early game attack. For red, it is also a 2 stack already because it has 2 lines of sight on red, and now it has 1 line of sight on white. And now this white has 2 lines of sight from red, and it has been under attack. And also in the visualization options in this editor, you can turn captures on and off to make it easier for you to see. It also helps you to analyze your previous games. If you play the moves that were in the game, maybe you will see that some of the stacks were in the attack. And it is very important skill to train to see the stacks under attack, to actually check the new emerging line of sight after every move that was played by your opponent. So, but here we go for the first strategy to protect from being captured. The first strategy is called a shield, and it is what it actually means because it shields your stack from one of the lines of sight. So you can play in this position. We were able to play 2 shields. If I remove this stack, you will see that you can play a shield on I8 and on K8 equally. I choose to play K8 because in my opinion it helps to secure more territory. Here is more like inwards and here is outwards. So I choose to play this one. For the red, it is still an option to keep attacking the white. For example, the red can play 1 stack here, and the 1 stack on K10 is still under attack. Another option to protect, so first option is shield, and shield is still available here in these 2 positions. We can still play I8, which is now a 2 stack, and M8, which is also a 2 stack. We can keep shielding, and this will be very effective, but there is a drawback of such shielding, as you can become enclosed, surrounded by your opponent. In this situation, I would prefer to actually play an extension move, which is also adding 1 more line of sight on my stack under attack. So now my opponent has 2 lines of sight, but I have 3 lines of sight. And instead of, so now this stack, as you can see, we removed the capture threat, because theoretically, red can still capture K10. Red can play a 2-stack here, but it will be a suicide move, as it is immediately has 3 lines of sight on white, so the white can immediately recapture. So it is essentially a very effective strategy to protect your stack. Why I like it more than the shield, and I would recommend, if you have the opportunity to add another line of sight and have a multi-purpose move like an extension, or actually creating a threat on another stack, to go for that one, because it helps you to secure more territory and to give you potential moves later in the game. While if you would be playing some shielding moves on M10 or I8, that would actually limit you in the abilities to create, to secure more territory later in the game. But let's see if red is really wants that one stack, or just wants to be annoying. Red can play another move to threaten the white. In this situation, again, you can be shielding, you can be creating more lines of sight, maybe, which means shielding again. But just for the sake of showing you one more strategy, which we recommend to use only in the end game, but still you can use it, it's called reinforce. So you can essentially reinforce this stack by placing 3 here, by playing again in the same position, and now the stack cannot be captured. This is not a good move for the early game, because you are essentially losing the ability to place another stack on the board. You have less stacks on the board, but your position becomes protected. So that's why we do not really recommend it for the beginning of the game, for the opening, because you want to place more stacks on the board. But you decide what is your best priority, and maybe if this position is very important for you, because it seems like red is also very interested in it, so you can play this this move. It is definitely the strategy. Reinforcement is playing on the same position, upgrading your stack. But red is playing very aggressively in our game, and what red can do, red can actually go for an attack on another stack, which is K8 in this position, and unfortunately this K8 cannot be protected, because it has 2 threads directly attached to it. It has only one of our lines of sight. We don't have enough moves to create more lines of sight and upgrade it. And this is quite detrimental, because if this one is captured, then this 3 stack will have 4 lines of sight, and it will be very hard to protect. We can be protecting by shielding, but for example, in this position, shield will not be possible, because now for red it will be a 2 stack, and we will be placing one stacks somewhere where red has already 2 stacks. So what you can do in this position, you don't need to be panicking. You need to look for an opportunity to actually create a bigger threat on the board. And there is such an opportunity here in this position. For example, if we play K13. If we play K13, then you can see that a 1 stack on N13, which belongs to red, is now under attack. And this is now for red to decide what is bigger for them. If they want to capture this one, the white can respond by capturing N13. If red wants to or otherwise red can actually shield from it and protect itself, and then white can do something else to maybe try to protect this one. But again, this one is not really so protected. It is not really easy for white to protect, so that's why red does not really need to capture it immediately. But if red decides to capture, then white can capture, and another stack of red is under attack. So this is a small sequence that shows you 3 strategies how to protect yourself from being captured. And so it is shielding, creating another line of sight, and reinforcing. Shielding is one of the very intuitive strategies, easy to use, creating another line of sight is not so intuitive, but actually allows you to expand a lot on the board while keeping your stacks protected. So it is a preferable strategy. And another strategy is reinforcing, which we recommend only for the end game and or when it is absolutely necessary and there are no other chances to protect your stacks. Another very advanced technique is actually don't care so much about stacks under attack and create another attack. But there, by this strategy, you can end up with many threats on the board and you need to keep track of all of them. So be careful and stay safe in Tumbleweed.